Okay. Ma'am, one more query is here, it should be more of sustenance. I should focus more on sustenance rather than strengthening.
Sustenance meaning?
In the sense, more number of repetitions should be worked on to rather than strengthening.
See, if you are taking less resistance, why you are taking less resistance here? Because her muscles are weak, are very weak.
Okay.
Okay, so she can take only that much resistance. If you increase the resistance, she will have pain.
Okay.
Okay, so here you are strengthening. You are not giving endurance activity to the patient. Okay, so you are strengthening. So if she is having is she having in some heart problem? So you can just keep a check on her breathing. Okay, while you're holding, you have to keep check on that. Not give her very heavy resistance training. But I think yellow band she can do. If she is good, she might go to red band. That's it. But we are focusing on strengthening here.
Okay.
Okay, with less reps, with 10 reps, maybe 2 sets of 10 reps.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
A lot of surgeons, they advise patients that even if they follow the exercise regime in stage 2, there won't be much of a difference in pain or its range. Once they reach stage 3, the recovery will be seen automatically. Do you agree with the same?
Yeah, it is correct because that is the course of the disease, isn't it? So if we follow a good exercise, and what is our role? Our role is keep whatever is there as it is. Okay, so maintain the strength, maintain the range, maintain the proprioception, and so I maintain that to reduce the pain. So that is our goal. Plus, when the patient start progressing, that time avoid the compensations in the movement. Okay, so that is a physiotherapist role. We are not like as I told you, okay, in many reviews and meta-analysis, physiotherapy is one of treatment of frozen shoulder. So physiotherapy alone is not able to work properly, and our role is to maintain. And when the patient shows progress, that time we need to handle the patient carefully, so that without any compensation, the patient comes back to his normal daily activities. So whatever they are saying, the surgeons are saying is right.
Okay. It is common to see that frozen shoulder usually leads to tennis elbow or any other sort of elbow pain. So what are the precautions or treatment protocol would you suggest for the same to reduce it?
Okay. So first, if the frozen shoulder patient is having tennis elbow, so if this is like patient has come to you with a tennis elbow only, like frozen shoulder and tennis elbow, so it is the patient is because the rotator cuff muscles are weak, and patient is doing some activities that he is using his elbow more. Okay, so that's why there is tennis elbow. If the patient is having tennis elbow pain after your treatment, then you are using your band, that is your resistance, a heavier one. Okay, so the patient is using his elbow there also. So you have to see to it that your resistance is also less. The patient is properly using and recruiting his shoulder, like rotator cuff muscles while you are doing your treatment. So that is important for every therapist. Like when I started, even I used to make certain mistakes. Okay? Patient used to have some upper trapezius pain or elbow pain. So these are the trick movements can do when we are teaching them exercise. So we what we are doing is that patient comes to us, we teach them 2-3 exercises, and the patient goes home and starts doing the exercises without properly learning the exercise. Okay, so we need to be confident. We need to be confident, and the patient needs to be confident that the exercises he or she is doing is in the correct way, so that there is no pain elsewhere in the body. Okay, so without any trick movement, the patient has to do proper exercise. Plus, if the patient is having pain without like the patient comes to us with tennis elbow and frozen shoulder, then you have to stop those activities which are leading to tennis elbow. You have to stop those activities and start strengthening the rotator cuff. Yeah.
Okay. Ma'am, what is the relationship or connection between diabetes mellitus and frozen shoulder?
Okay, so diabetes, it is a sugar problem. Okay, so what people are saying is like the causes are not exactly known, but because of sugar, the capsule, it becomes sticky, and that causes adhesive capsulitis. So,
Okay.
yeah, so
Okay.
that is the main, so simple way.
Ma'am, if a patient manifests with frozen shoulder and tennis elbow, which should be the one which we should concentrate on first?
Of course, frozen shoulder, because frozen shoulder has resulted into tennis elbow. So first we are dealing with the root cause, and then your tennis elbow will also eventually go. Like first it started with shoulder, then it went to tennis elbow. So likewise, first we'll deal with shoulder, let the shoulder symptoms resolve, and then slowly the tennis elbow symptoms will also go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ma'am, again on the same question, somebody has asked कि that was what they were trying to ask कि अगर stage 2 में pain कम होने ही नहीं वाला, if the the condition will remain the same, then why do we need to stretch, or why do we need to do anything in stage 2, and we can start working it with stage 3 when the capsule starts healing itself? So what is the importance of stage 2 when we already know the pain and the limiting factors will not decrease? So why not leave that stage there only and start with stage 3 when everything comes down?
See, what everybody, I think, everywhere is dealing with is symptomatic relief. Okay.
Okay.
So I think symptom only treating, like it's like going to a general practitioner, like I have fever and just popping up combiflams for fever. So it's just the same scenario here. We shouldn't actually deal with only pain, because patient is complaining of pain. We are only treating pain. What is the cause? Stiffness. Okay, rotator cuff strength, weakness. These are the causes. So we have to find the cause of the pain, and that we are treating. So the question is, in the stage 2, if there is no improvement, what is our role is to maintain whatever the range is. We are avoiding the further severity of the disease. Okay, so we are maintaining the strength of rotator cuff, we are maintaining the range, we are maintaining the scapular strength, we are maintaining the proprioception. So all the components we are trying to maintain as it is, so that it is beneficial for patient, also beneficial for us also in stage 3. So it will be simpler, isn't it?
Okay. Ma'am, sometimes a patient is not able to accept any exercises due to pain. What is our next treatment protocol? Do we use any modality or let the patient rest for a few days without anything?
Sorry, if the patient is, what he is doing, he's sorry.
He's not able to accept any exercises because of pain. So what should be our role? Should we let the patient rest for a few days without giving him anything, or we can use any other modality, or we can use any other measures?
See, mainly if the patient has gone to the orthopedic surgeon, I think it is better to just let him or her go to orthopedic surgeon and take one opinion before we taking such severity of pain into our hands. Okay, but if there is no orthopedic surgeon that at that time, or you cannot go to the orthopedic surgeon, you can uh, do a gentle exercise, reduce your exercise repetition, maybe sets, reduce it how much ever the patient can, you can give by taking hot fomentation. Okay, so you can carry forward a little bit. A patient can rest for 1 or 2 days. If it just like orthopedic is going to meet you after 3 to 4 days, you can tell the patient ki you can rest for 2 to 3 days, or give the resistance band to a lesser degree. So reduce the intensity and frequency of exercise, give a good hot pack till then. And I think for such a severity of pain, it is better to meet a orthopedic surgeon.
Okay. Ma'am, what is the rate of full recovery, and how much duration or how much long can it take? And what is the quality indicators for reassessment and follow-up?
Okay, so see, it's given a range from 1 to 3 years. Okay, depending on the severity. So maximum if the internal rotation is hampered, so it is not a severe frozen shoulder. So depending on the severity, the diabetes factor, thyroid, cardiovascular, all those factors which come into the picture of a frozen shoulder patient, that will tell you exactly how is the going to be the progress. Also, if the patient is following the exercise program, following your recommendations properly, then the course of progress will be much better. Okay, so generally, see, I have seen in around like my minimal, like the patient who are very protective about themselves and they follow strictly. So I have seen within 8 months, yeah, the patient was like happy, like I'm so good without any diabetic factors, without any comorbidities. So within 8 months the patient was very happy, and the strength was also, everything was much better because he followed everything as I told him. Okay, and it may extend depending on the age of also all the comorbid factors. What was the second question? The assessment, no?
Ma'am, key, what is, how do you reassess and follow up with the patient? What exactly are the indicators for that?
Okay, so see, reassessment depending, you should know pre and you should know post scores. Okay, so you can select a scale of shoulder scale where you are very confident, which is a gold standard scale maybe. So you can just, or you can just jot down the your history and your whole evaluation, and you can see, we all know what is the range of, what is the range, what is the pains. You can use VAS scale. Then you can use strengthening, maybe strengthening we don't use here, but you can use our MMT. So according to that measures, you can assess the patient very well, I think. There is UCLA score, but then if you also jot down properly all the evaluation and see pre and post, maybe you take some videos. What was the pre-movement? What was the post-movement? Then also you can assess very well. And depending on the goal also, what is the patient's goal? So if you have achieved 80% of the patient's goal, then you can say that I'm going into a right direction.
Okay. Ma'am, the last range or the final range of motion is difficult to achieve in many patients. We don't go to the end range. Okay. So do you think that that can be a major cause of relapse in many patients?
See, I have gone to the end range also. Okay. So how will you get that end range is the crucial point. Okay, so what I have seen is stability matters a lot. So if your scapula is strengthened well and it is stable while doing all your exercises, I think your range can improve drastically. So many of my patients which I have dealt with who are stuck at the end range, I have focused on their scapular stability, and this has given me very good results for the end stage of range of motion.
Okay, so it's not just the mobility which we have to keep in the mind. It has to be the stability factor as well.
Yeah, correct.
Okay. Ma'am, can frozen shoulder again develop in the already recovered patient from frozen shoulder?
No, the recurrent, no, again the shoulder doesn't go into frozen shoulder. The chances are 20 to 30% that the other shoulder will get affected.
Okay, but same side never gets affected twice.
Doesn't recur. No.
Okay. Ma'am, is there any adjunct treatment which can be used in treatment of frozen shoulder apart from exercises? Mainly, do you think that acupuncture or dry needling serves any purpose in the frozen shoulder patient?
Okay, so see, dry needling and all, everything is symptomatic. Okay, but if the patient is like willing and he's like, no, I want dry needling, and there's pain, and if the patient is not really handling things well, so we can surely give any other, you can give ultrasound, you can give TENS has shown good results, you can give dry needling because the patient will be more happier. Okay, so you can surely give mobilizations also. You can surely give the technique which you believe in. But main thing is your shoulder should come into right position and normal position as it was before. That is our main aim. But what I have seen, we just go on giving the symptomatic treatment, and that is not good. We have to focus on our goal, and we have to accomplish that.
Ma'am,
That
is
is
there any particular scale which you use for shoulder assessment? Is there any specific scale?
right now I don't use any scale because I have searched a lot. There are UCLA is a good score, but then there is no proper scoring measure. Like there is not like all the components are not there in a single scoring system. So you need, with certain scales, you need to add on your own things and then make your own evaluation chart and then do. But then I follow for my sports players, I follow FMS score, which is very good score. But that comes later after for functional rehabilitation. That is a good score, but only for shoulder, I don't think there's a complete scale. If
So it's
you can
yeah.
ask Himani if she's using any.
Okay. So it's
Himani,
more of a combination of various scales and various factors which we use, right?
yeah, it is a combination.
Okay. Ma'am, any scapular stability exercises which you specifically use to get the end range?
Scapular, see, in all the exercises, like while doing infraspinatus, while supraspinatus, like all the exercises, you need to stabilize the scapula and then only do the exercise. Okay, so what most of the people they do is they just retract superficial, like only in a starting range. What we need to tell them is contract fully. There should be a pitch, and then only do all the exercises. Plus, we need to strengthen their scapula and work more on their scapula for strengthening. So that way we have to guide that, retract fully till the end range and then only do the exercises. Okay,
Okay.
so that is.
Ma'am, what can be done for a patient who has severe pain and they cannot tolerate or cannot start an exercise regime? What should we do in such cases? How will our approach differ, or how will I approach such patients?
See, I don't think there is any modality which can give the patient relief in just single day. So if the patient is so severely in pain, I think it is better to go to orthopedic surgeon, isn't it?
Yeah.
Prerak?
Yes, ma'am. Any other questions anyone would like to have? Any other doubts? Any other queries? If you want, you can ask your question straight away as well. We'll be taking a last question for today. Any other doubts? Any other queries? Yeah, I think, ma'am, that will be all. Most of the people are asking if you use any particular scapular stability exercises for the end range and all these scales. Maybe if you can share some PDFs with us, I think.
Okay,
We
I'll share the scales.
Okay.
I'll share the scale. The stability exercises will remain same. See, mainly, in every exercise,
Okay.
see what, for example, if I have been told to retract, okay,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm just retracting this much.
Okay.
Okay, I have to explain that patient this much you can do.
Okay.
Go further ahead and retract more. Okay, this will be the strengthening part of it. Okay, so as we progress the therabands and resistance, so this is the key where, so if I tell the patient like stand and retract your hands back.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the patient shouldn't use a posterior deltoid. The retraction should be coming from the retractors, and again the hand should like extend further away through retractors only.
Okay.
Are you understand? So
Yeah.
it should be till the end range. That is what we are not doing.
Okay.
So retraction should be proper, and then the exercises should be done.
Okay.
See, I think what we can do, let the people try it out, okay, and let them give me a feedback on this, because this really helps. And with proper retraction and with proper stretching, self stretching or gentle stretching by the therapist, this really works at the end range. Okay, I
Ma'am,
think
as
hmm,
as you
I can
said that
I get the feedback.
as you said
Tell,
that
tell.
right now that deltoid as for scapular retraction, the
Mhm.
deltoid, they use the deltoid as a compensatory mechanism. So how to avoid those compensatory reactions and give a proper exercise stabilizing the joint and stabilizing their exercise protocol properly.
Okay, so you have to give a feedback. You have to hold the inferior angle of scapulae. You have to tell the patient that this is where you need to contract. Okay, and not to
Okay.
use the posterior deltoid. So to relax posterior deltoid, to relax the upper trapezius, to relax everything else. I just need
Yes.
you to concentrate on inferior angle of scapula and retract it as much as you can. Okay, and
Okay.
as a therapist, we ourselves we can feel the contraction of lower trapezius or retraction.
Okay.
So that is the way we need to teach the patient well. This is where I was also going wrong, and where I progressed well after doing this.
Okay. Thank you.
It is little hard to believe and imagine, but even I was like wondering how did this happen. Then I use this technique in every patient, which is very, very important. So you can try out.
Okay. Thank you.
Ma'am,
Yeah.
I want to ask one question. Hello.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah.
Ma'am, like you said, ki physiotherapy it should be used with other adjuncts, like
Yeah.
you said the salination and other things like non-surgical other procedures. But ma'am, usually when patient comes to us for physiotherapy, usually doctors like orthopedician they tell ki you take physiotherapy for 10 days or something, and if it doesn't improve, then we'll go for this other adjuncts. So
Mhm.
and if a patient wants to go for that other adjuncts, it doesn't come back to us for like therapy. And even if it comes, they are like madam hame exercises sikha do and give us like home exercise protocol. So how is it possible like both will go hand in hand like?
Okay. See, mainly we have to be strict with the patient. See, I want you to come to me till you learn the exercises well. Okay. See, in certain situation, whether severe, like not frozen shoulder, but in other cases where you can tell the patient, like maybe lower body simple exercises, the patient can come 2 to 3 days to you, learn proper exercises, and go home. There it is okay, but some severe condition like frozen shoulder, I think the patient should come to us till the patient's muscles are active again. Okay, are you understanding what is the meaning of active? Like recruiting muscles, like recruitment is through your nerves. Hmm? So your nerve should activate the muscle. Okay, so that takes time. That takes literally 3 to 4 days minimum, and you will feel the change that now the muscles are actually contracting. See what is happening, the muscle has forgotten his movement. So we are trying to retrain, we are trying to tell that muscle ki you have to contract. So that takes time. Okay, so that takes around 4 to 5 days minimum. But when this happens, that recruitment happens, and the patient knows the exercises properly, that is the time you can tell the patient, okay, now go home and you can do the exercise. If you don't tell the patient, if you tell the patient, okay, now this is the exercise and now go home and do. What is that a proof maybe, or patient will activate the muscle at home. So we cannot say that the patient will do better at home because we don't know whether the muscles are activating. So the patient should come to us till the correct exercise has been taught, till the muscles are properly contracted, and you are confident that the patient will now go home and do the exercises well, and there will be a little progress. So till then the patient should come to you. And see, the other question you asked, the orthopedic sends us directly. So you can start with your exercises, and if 4 to 5 days, if patient is complaining that nothing is happening, you can refer the patient back to the orthopedic, that because there is severe pain, I've sent the patient to you. Am I okay? Is it okay?
Yeah, ma'am. I think yeah. Priyanka, she has
Yes,
already.
ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I think you should be more stricter with the patient, and you should know your goal. Okay, I have to activate that muscle, and yes, now the muscle has been activated, and patient has learned the exercises, and I'm very confident that patient will do the exercises properly at home. Then you should send the patient to for the home exercise program.
Okay.
Okay.
I think we'll take the last question for today.
Yeah.
One more question. Anyone wants to ask? I think, ma'am, we have almost covered. We Everybody has answered all these questions. Mainly, what people are asking is if we can have some skills, some handy skills which we can use to, assess shoulder in general. And most of the people are also interested in knowing, ki, ma'am, what are the specific scapular stability exercises which you use in your practice. So if we can get any links or anything, any reading material, so I think that will be greatly helping all the physiotherapy community. So can you please share something with us?
Yeah. So I'll be sending you, na Prerak?
Yes, ma'am. Not a
Okay.
problem.
I will send that.
Okay.
And
ठीक है,
I
ma'am.
hope I was clear enough and everybody satisfied.
Yeah,
with it.
ma'am. Definitely, we will ask for the feedback as well.
If any
And
questions, they can come to me anytime.
yeah, ma'am. Definitely, I would share your number if anybody has some doubts. They can contact you directly.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, it was very kind of you, ma'am. Thank you for your time. And definitely, we learned a lot of things about frozen shoulder and how to approach frozen shoulder as a physiotherapist. So, ma'am, thanks a lot. Thank you for the time. And definitely, ma'am, any other queries, so definitely I'll put them forward to you also. Okay.
Sure.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Please
Thank
take
you.
care. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah.